Houston Area Women's Center ha inaugurado la primera fase de One Safe Place Houston, un innovador campus de 5.5 acres diseñado para brindar apoyo integral a mujeres sobrevivientes de violencia doméstica, agresión sexual y trata de personas. El edificio representa un enfoque innovador para apoyar a sobrevivientes que huyen de la violencia. Esto significa acceso inmediato a la seguridad. Esta instalación ofrece 135 apartamentos de vivienda de apoyo, un centro de crisis y evaluación 24/7 y un centro de empoderamiento económico para ayudar a las sobrevivientes a sanar y reconstruir sus vidas. A continuación, disfrute de la rueda de prensa realizada en el marco de la inauguración del edificio y conozca alguna de las áreas.
I am Emily Whitehurst, President and CEO of the Houston Area Women's Center. On behalf of the board and staff of Hawc, I want to wish you a warm welcome to One Safe Place Houston. We're gonna have fun this morning. This is a big deal. Since 1977, Hawc has become more than an emergency shelter and crisis hotline. It is now a lifeline that offers women and children residential and non-residential services designed to break the cycle of domestic and sexual abuse, empower survivors, and create lasting change. In collaborative partnership with the public and private sectors, Hawc prevents domestic and sexual violence through data-driven public health advocacy and innovative comprehensive services to survivors of domestic abuse, sexual assault, and sex trafficking. Unprecedented in size and scope, One Safe Place Houston represents the next chapter in Hawc's storied 48-year history. A comprehensive, secure 5.5-acre campus, and beautiful, if I might add. There is nothing like it in the world, and I don't think that's Texas hyperbole. That is true. We are here to celebrate the opening of our new emergency and transitional housing and supportive services facility, and to declare victory on phase 1 of our campus expansion plans. The building in front of you represents an innovative approach to supporting survivors fleeing violence. Rather than shelter beds and shared bathrooms, we have built 135 apartments that, when at capacity, will triple the number of people we are going to be able to serve on any given night. This is critical because 1 in 4 homicides in the Houston area are domestic violence related. It is the primary area of crime that is increasing. The region's network of service providers consistently run at capacity, and as a result, we are unable to provide safe housing to most of the callers who reach out to us, even when we know they are in imminent danger. By some estimates, 8 out of 10 survivors in danger are unable to access real-time safety. It is our fervent hope and our deepest conviction that One Safe Place Houston will help reduce the turnaway rate and save lives. Please know, we will scale our operations carefully and responsibly, opening the apartments only as we know we can provide adequate support for each survivor and her children who cross the threshold of One Safe Place Houston. The campus will also be a hub for clients who do not need access to emergency shelter, but who very much need access to our comprehensive life-saving services. This is a disclosed location representing a fundamental departure from our past practice. We made the decision to disclose the location for several reasons, primarily because advances in technology are such that it is virtually impossible to keep a location secret. More importantly, we want survivors to know where we are, to feel safe, to feel proud coming here. And we want the community to become engaged in the collective efforts required to turn the tide on what I consider one of the most pressing public health challenges of our time. One Safe Place Houston represents the opportunity to prevent the cycle of abuse for all survivors. Domestic and sexual violence do not discriminate and know no boundaries. So many people have been involved in bringing this moment to fruition, and I want to take just a moment to recognize them. I would be remiss if I didn't lift up Mayor Turner and the City of Houston, whose initial investment of $16 million, just shy, provided a kickstart to these efforts. This building is a testament to his leadership and to his commitment to supporting survivors of domestic and sexual violence. I want to thank what I call the dream team who came together to bring this beautiful facility to you: Camden, Forney Construction, GSMA Architects, New Hope Housing, our developer partner, Baker Botts and Dwayne Morris, who provided essential legal services support for Hawc in this process. I want to thank the generous donors and foundations who helped fund phase 1 and ensure this building was successfully completed. I want you to thank the staff of the Houston Area Women's Center who have navigated exceptionally challenging circumstances. The increased demand for our services from COVID up until today, the sale of our headquarters on WA. I've lost count of how many natural disasters we've been through, and now the concern over our federal funding. I would ask those of you gathered here to remember that even when our staff are personally affected by those issues, they still show up to make sure that Hawc is available to serve survivors 24 hours a day, every single day of the year. They deserve your admiration and respect. We are here to celebrate the opening of this building, to be sure, but we are here for something far more important than a building. We are here because Hawc envisions a future for Houston comprised of safe, thriving communities, liberated from violence, defined by loving families and healthy relationships. One Safe Place Houston is where we're going to showcase what that future looks like and how we can get there together. Not in the abstract, but concretely, every day. For every person who crosses the threshold of One Safe Place Houston, survivors, strategic partners, volunteers, we hope you will see and feel healing in the wake of harm. We want you to understand what it requires for families and communities to be liberated from the cycles of violence. We want you to see it in action. And most importantly, we want everybody who comes on this campus to feel safe and loved. Certainly, there can be no more important partner in our mission than the Mayor of Houston, John Whitmire. Mayor Whitmire has been a long-standing supporter of Hawc throughout his professional career, most recently serving on our advisory council. I think one of his most distinguished achievements. Mayor Whitmire understands the intersections between domestic violence as the leading cause of homelessness for women and children, the rising rate of domestic violence homicides. He understands the tragic connection between violence in our region's alarming maternal mortality rates and the disproportionate impact of violence on women and women of color. We couldn't be prouder to have you here, Mayor Whitmire, and to know that we are in lockstep with you to save lives throughout our great city. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ms. Whitehurst, for your outstanding leadership. Leadership does matter, and I've watched you collaborate with all levels of government, law enforcement, the prosecution, the healthcare community. We have a great city, great people, and today, in real time, we get to see why we're so great. As Emily pointed out, throughout my legislative career, I have networked with the Women's Center on legislation, increasing the penalty, holding people accountable. And during these years, they started in '77, I started in '73, so we've been partners the entire journey. The only complaint I've ever heard against the Women's Center was it was too small. No longer, thanks to different levels of government, the collaboration, the nonprofit, the philanthropic, and every one of you that are here present today. So this is a celebration, but our work is not finished. In the shadows of downtown, there are women being abused. You never can imagine where you'll find it. I was in the yard one day a couple years ago in our security patrol. Officer stopped and said, "You're a senator?" I said, "Yes. I'm being abused. I can't go home tonight. I don't know what to do." So obviously, I knew where to turn. They accepted this person. We got her dog in a shelter, and it was a success story. She was able to get away from the daily threats and abuses. We have to be mindful of those that are undocumented. I've been in locations where people are being abused, but they're afraid to come out and ask for help. That's not the case in Houston, Texas. We help you if you need help. So let's celebrate today, but realize we have a lot of work left to do. Let's go to work. Thank you all.
Quiero primero darle las gracias a todos los que están aquí, tanto la ciudad, el condado. Muchos de estos fondos son fondos federales, obviamente la organización Houston Area Women's Center y también tantos líderes comunitarios que han ayudado con todos estos esfuerzos. Esta es una celebración, una expansión importante, ofrecer apartamentos para las familias que se ven impactadas, pero también hay que recordar que el trabajo continúa. Una cosa muy importante, la información, informarnos de qué se trata la violencia doméstica. No es solamente violencia física, también se trata de violencia emocional, violencia financiera. Muchísimas gracias, gracias a Hawc y a tanta gente que está aquí apoyándonos. Thank you so much, and we will now have District Attorney Shantier.
The collaborative effort from everyone on this stage and all of our predecessors that we're able to get Hawc the funding and support to create this incredible venue is unmatched, I think, in the United States. What services we as a group are going to be able to provide to survivors here is unmatched. From the constant presence of our newly created Domestic Violence Bureau that will be here to advise survivors on their next steps in the legal system. We'll be here to get protective orders created and filed on behalf of the survivors that need them. I'm so excited to see all of the purple because we're here on behalf of the survivors. The wraparound services that this organization and this group are going to provide are so critical to saving lives and, quite frankly, driving down crime, because the crime that comes from domestic violence and all of the other things that come from that are real crime drivers in our community. So we've got to be proactive, and this 5.5 acre campus is the beginning of that collaborative effort. So with that, I'm going to hand it to Councilmember Dr. Carolyn Evans-Shabazz, who has been fighting on this front for decades. So thank you very much.
I'm certainly honored to be here. This took 2 minutes. Seems like, goodness, we were just here breaking the dirt, and we're here today. And I've been just kind of sitting there, and I really don't share this, but you never know what a survivor looks like. And I am a survivor. Yeah, I'm a big woman, and I can handle myself. But certainly you can get yourself in situations, and it's very difficult. So I know personally the embarrassment, the fear, the disgust of knowing that you are really kind of helpless and hopeless. And so this really means a lot to me personally. We want those that are abusing to know that they need to get help, because they possibly have been in situations growing up themselves that were never addressed. And so it's cyclical, but it's something that is so very, very worthy. And I am really happy to be here to serve District D. And again, I want to emphasize, whoever is putting these wraparound services together, I certainly lift you up in prayer, because this is very, very important. Thank you for coming. Again, I'm Councilmember Carolyn Evans-Shabazz, a survivor. Thank you.
Primero quiero dar las gracias a todos nuestros socios aquí de la ciudad de Houston y el condado Jerez, también especialmente a la presidenta Emily Whitehurst de Houston Area Women's Center y también a todos los sobrevivientes de la violencia doméstica. Hoy abre sus puertas One Safe Place Houston, un faro de esperanza para quienes han sufrido violencia doméstica. Este centro brinda apoyo para que los sobrevivientes reconstruyan sus vidas. Sabemos que aquí en el condado Jerez, 75% de las víctimas que buscan refugio son rechazadas por falta de espacio. Pero hoy estamos aquí mejorando la situación en el condado. Aquí estamos aumentando el espacio 40% en esta región. One Safe Place Houston ofrece vivienda, asesoría legal, atención médica, cuidado infantil y formación laboral. Así, con la unidad, trabajando en equipo, vamos a continuar el progreso en esta región y de nuevo, felicidades, Emily, y a todo su equipo.
I think it's incumbent on all of us to be good neighbors. I'm going to do my best because I am the neighbor right next door. So we're going to make our facilities available. I think we're going to house about 30 of your people in some of the office space that we're no longer using. And I think all of us in government have to do that. And we got to encourage the private sector and our philanthropic community to even dig deeper than they have dug before. I had a prominent minister who asked me if he could do something to help me. And Emily was already kind of rubbing it in, so to speak, because the city had put up the bulk of the money for this building. So I said, well, why don't you just consider giving it to the center next door instead of giving it to me? And he gave me $50,000. But look, you're gonna need a lot more than that. And you gotta help us make the case to the public. Now, my primary job today is to introduce Atika. And you ought to Google what that name means. It means one of a kind. Atika was a tenant a couple of years ago for about 7 months. She was strong when she came in. She had challenges she had to overcome, and she is stronger than ever now.
I began my journey with the Houston Area Women's Center in 2014, during a time when I was at my lowest mentally, physically, and spiritually. As I walked through those doors, I had no idea I was embarking on a life-changing path. The shame and fear of judgment was lifted when I was met with such an empathy that I have never experienced. After this encounter, I realized that I was finally in a safe place. Hawc has implemented a system that prioritizes safety and holistic healing, helping individuals understand the experiences while equipping them with the tools to uplift and empower themselves. This includes resources to break the cycle of abuse, advocacy for victims within the justice system, and fostering an environment of fellowship and unity. My experiences at Hawc has truly been life-changing. Therefore, it impacted the life of my children, and I will be forever thankful. Who I am today is a reflection of the many women shaped by Hawc. As our saying goes, what you learn here, you cannot unlearn. The strength I developed at the center, along with the knowledge I gained about domestic and sexual violence, has empowered me to support other women. By sharing what I learned, I've helped them escape from very terrible, violent situations, and now they are thriving, free from this violence. When I was invited to the board, I felt both honored and affirmed that my journey in advocacy had truly come full circle. This facility is built on empathy, is designed with the needs of victims in mind, and is respectful for your situations and what you have been through. This is a place of humanity. You are right, and what you are experiencing is unjust. You are not being overdramatic that you and your children may be unsafe. It is not just a feeling. You will be seen here and you will be heard. When we open our doors in April, I invite everyone to step through and begin their own life-changing path. Thank you.
I want to thank the distinguished guest, good Mayor John Whitmire. First, let me start by really focusing on what the Hawc does for the community. It provides a space of warmth, a space of growth, a space of love in the community when sometimes home isn't warm, isn't a place of growth, isn't a place of love. I want to thank the community. I want to thank our partners at the Harris County Sheriff's Office. My dear friend, Sheriff Gonzalez is not here today, but we work collectively every single day to do this. The Houston Police Department has over 150 people committed to the Hawc, not only for the actual care, but for the aftercare. I want to thank the people that actually do the hard work, the staff that's actually taking some of these victims to court, the people preparing the food at this facility, the people that are actually doing the work often don't get recognized. They're not going to be in front of a microphone. But as the chief of police, I recognize that it's a tough job. The call takers, it's a 24/7 operation, and they should be commended at all times. But for us, our responsibility is to continue a seamless integration with the hearty resource that we already provide to the Hawc, so that this is successful, because a successful Hawc is a successful Houston, a successful Harris County. So thank you very much. I actually toured it when it was dusty and under construction, and it's an amazing place. You guys will enjoy the tour. So stay focused. Thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.
I've been at Hawc for 33 years and have seen a lot of our programs and facilities evolve. But before I start, I wanted to recognize our founder and the very first executive director, Nikki Van Hightower. We heard before that domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking, sex trafficking are recognized as public health crises. And they're human rights violations. They are widespread with severe consequences on individuals, families, and entire communities. And recognizing them as a public health problem emphasizes the need to address its root causes, as we heard earlier from Judge Hidalgo. So stopping the violence before it happens is the best thing, but we know that it's widespread. So we have to implement prevention strategies in order to address it. And this is one of the prevention strategies that's why we're here today. But this approach requires us to be collaborative at all levels. And what does that mean? It means to be multidisciplinary, coordinated, trauma-informed. And it involves, as we heard earlier, the healthcare, law enforcement, criminal and civil justice systems, social service agencies, like many who are here today. I want to give a shout out to Barrier Turning Point, who is one of our sister organizations, the police departments, Lieutenant Claft. There's a lot of people here today, Memorial Herman, there's a lot of people and organizations here today that make this work every single day happen. For survivors, it means immediate access to safety and services, and it also ensures long-term safety. Survivors deserve they deserve safe, stable housing, healing-centered trauma support, and economic justice. And so the prevention and advocacy that we do are the building blocks for a future where healthy and safe relationships are going to thrive.
Es asegurarnos que nuestras clientas tengan el servicio que ellas se merecen. Uno de ellos siendo que podemos ir a corte con ellas para apoyarlas emocionalmente, ya sea en la policía local donde ellas viven o donde el crimen sucedió, al igual que también ir a corte con ellas para que se sientan apoyadas y asegurarnos que todas las cosas que están a su disposición, que la corte se las esté proveyendo. La otra cosa que hacemos es trabajar con nuestras agencias locales que pueden representar y probar asesoría a nuestras clientas completamente gratis para asegurarnos que ellas sepan cuáles son sus derechos en cosas como custodia, órdenes de protección, desalojos, cualquier cosa que le está afectando relacionada al crimen de violencia doméstica o abuso sexual. Al igual, también tomamos el tiempo para hablar con nuestras clientas sobre los diferentes servicios o derechos que ellas tienen como víctimas del crimen, por decir, irse de su apartamento si no se sienten seguras y cuáles son las cosas que las protegen, las órdenes de protección que tanto son importantes para mantener la seguridad, al igual que sepan los derechos que tienen como inmigrantes y víctimas de crimen. Y lo más importante es saber que cualquier derecho que ellas tienen relacionado al crimen que tenga el Estado, como algún tipo de reembolso para víctimas de crimen, también será proveído.
This space is a space where people come together. In any culture, food brings people together, right? And so in this culture, here at the Houston Area Women's Center, we want to make sure that we, as normal as it can be for a survivor, we want to be that person and that place for them. We have menus that we have created for different cultures. We have Hispanics, we have Filipinos, and I've created some menus and they have been wonderful. The residents will always come together and talk about their experiences. This is where bonding happens. We have so many residents who have food and trauma, there's a huge correlation between food and trauma. So we have a lot of residents who have been neglected when it comes to food. And so we see different types of behaviors around that. However, when we're creating this space for them, they have a sense of normalcy, a sense of community, a sense of, just worthiness. And so what we try and do every day when we work with our clients and we're feeding them, we feed them 3 meals a day, and then they also have 2 snacks. What we try and do is make this experience as pleasant as we possibly can. One of the things that we've done at our other campus that we're going to bring over here bigger and better is we're going to have a committee of residents. So they're going to also create menus for us here at the Houston Area Women's Center. I am excited about what we're doing here, and it's just amazing to me how different cultures come together over food.
This is our efficiency unit. So in this one right here, we can actually hold a single family with a mom plus 1 child, and we can also hold a single resident in here. So on this side right here, we have a restroom, we have 2 closet spaces, a refrigerator, a convection microwave, and then we have the bed. So if we do have a mom plus 1 child, there will be an additional bed. If it's a mom plus a crib, we can also put a crib in here. But if we have a single disability or somebody that needs an accessible unit, this can be 1 space for them as well. So it gives them all the luxury with having their own AC unit so they can control the temperature and not have to rely on the central air. And it has their privacy factor for them since they're in this space by themselves.